welcome to the A.D.K channel and to a Behind the Kit episode 2, where today I am joined by the wonderful Nick Plews from Cage Fight and Raise the Devil. I think that's the only two at the moment, isn't it, Nick?
Yeah, you're right. You got it spot on.
Hey, so how are you?
I'm very well. Very well. Thank you for inviting me to this. Much appreciated.
I feel intimidated today.
Why?
Because you're a lot better drummer than I am.
No, it's a Monday, right?
Oh, so you're knackered.
I've just done a warm up and there you go.
So I have a chance. I have a chance today.
No, it's all good. I've got my steps in this morning.
Excellent. Right, well, before we actually get around to actually playing something on the kits, I want to do a little bit of kind of a behind the history of yourself and a little bit about understanding yourself as a drummer. So we go all the way back to the first question I like to ask is about what made you want to start playing drums?
It's a good question.
Thank you, I thought it was.
Yeah, try and come up with a good answer. I didn't necessarily want to play the drums. I didn't really know what I wanted to play. I started out playing piano and stuff like that when I was younger. It was one of those instruments that when I was at school, it was like, you're now playing piano. I was like, okay, and I did all right at it. Musically, I understood it. Theory-wise, not so much, but the practical application of it is gone in, stays in. So I think my kind of musical journey started there.
Yeah.
The recorder.
Yeah. Pharaoh Jacques.
Everyone,
Three Blind Mice.
Yeah, everyone loves a bit of the recorder. And I used to tap a lot on desks at school. And I didn't stop tapping to the annoyance of everyone around me. And what happened was, what used to happen was there used to be a group of people my age, my peers, kind of gathering around, like egging me on. Oh, nice guy. On a desk, and the teacher would come in and say, shut up. Like,
Right, okay.
I was kind of addicted to it.
Yeah.
And I used to do it at home. And one day, I must have been like 12, 13. I think it was Christmas or a birthday. My mum and dad got me like a real basic, not a kid's drum kit, but one up from a kid's drum kit, but a really, really, really beginner kit. I can't remember what the make was, but I've never heard of it before, and I still haven't to this day. But it did a job, and I got behind it, and I'll never forget it. Do you know how weird memories are?
Yeah.
Memories are like little snapshots in time. We don't remember everything, do we? But we remember things that happen, milestones in life. And this was definitely a milestone. At the time, I didn't think, oh, I better remember this. It just happened. I'll never forget. Get behind the drum kit, pick the sticks up. I've never had a lesson before, but I did it all the wrong way. So I put the hi-hat underneath, snare on top.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
And then I instantly went, no, that's not right. Psh, straight to crossover. And the weird thing about me is I'm left-handed.
Me too.
There you go. But by the looks of things, you play a right-handed setup.
Because I didn't know anything different. Because when you buy a kit and you go into a drum showroom or anything like that, or you see most drummers, it's all set up that way.
Yeah.
Because I even remember when you saw people playing guitar, I didn't know there were such things as left-handed guitars. I just thought, like everything else in this world, everything is geared to right-handed. And as a left-handed person, you just have to adapt.
Yeah.
So I just learned to play. I don't think I could ever play that way round. But because you also like left-footed as your prominent foot. Same here. So do you find, well, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but you brought onto it. But for me, obviously then, as that's your strongest, that should be your main kick drum. That should be your dominant foot. Yeah. But obviously we're having to do that with our right.
Yeah, well, I think that's where I naturally fell into double kick work.
Ah, okay.
Because no one told me, and I didn't know. And the beauty of it is I had no idea that left-handed thing was a thing.
Yeah.
So I just was played right. Like you said, we just did it. Then years later, I was like, what's Phil Collins doing? Why is everything the wrong way around? Oh, he's left-handed. Oh, bugger.
And it's too late to change at that point, isn't it?
It is, but you end up being a bit ambidextrous with it all. You know, you end up you might have a dominant left hand, but you're playing fills leading on the right. All my fills used to lead with the left, but obviously if you're going round, that's a massive stumbling block because you're going left, right.
Yeah.
But
now, I find like you finish on the left sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, I've got to start on the left again. So you're having to do this.
So I trained myself into leading with the right. With double kick work, if you're doing like a kind of that kind of groove, I'll be leading on the left. So my on beats and off beats are the wrong way around. But I've kind of naturally trained myself into a full-on right-handed approach because doing fills and things like that is a problem if you are leading on the wrong foot or the wrong hand. But still to this day, a lot of my fills do start on the left. And I mix it up. Now, as you know, I do teach drums.
Yes.
I teach drums in quite a practical way, and we have fun with it. So I find people's passion for drumming rather than the theory stuff, but we do incorporate theory later. So I do the practical stuff first, show people how to play drums. That's what they want. And then I show them how it makes sense and what it works like on paper, how it works on paper.
Yeah.
But I'll show them something and they might say, hang on, you lead it on the left there. I'm like, good spot. Don't use me as an example of everything, okay? So do it your right-handed approach and just pretend I'm leading on the right on some of the fills. But 90% of them now are leading with the right. You see, I do some really crazy stuff incorporating double kicks and hands and stick work into fills. You know, if you're splitting snare and kicks and toms and kicks and all that. Because I've got a gap between each grouping, I can lead with the left. Make sense?
Sort of, yeah.
So they're going da 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 da, no gaps. If I'm going like da 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 do do da 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 do do da 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 do do, I've got gaps, so I can lead with the left. So now and then I might lead with the left.
So you've adjusted it accordingly, yeah.
Yeah, basically I just do what I do, and then hope for the best. But what it's done with teaching, it's changed my approach.
Yeah.
And it's made me analyse what I do.
Of course, because you've got to explain what you're playing.
And not confuse people along the way, which I've done. I think I'm pretty much sorted. But now and then something might pop up. But what I love is the fact the students spotted it. You know? But I'm also teaching left-handed players. So I'm setting the kit up left-handed for them. Then I'm getting behind it and playing it to show them stuff. And I realise I can play left-handed as well, fine.
See, I hate you even more now, Nick.
But I'll play open-handed on a left-handed setup. Make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not going to cross over and all that business.
Yeah.
So me playing open, no problem. I just hit your mic. It's going to make an amazing noise.
It's going to sound awesome. What was the first kit that you personally bought? Not like the kids' kit. What was the first one that you kind of had, which was a full-size kit that was yours?
Pearl Export. Still got it.
Still got it. So when did you get that?
Oh, God. Maybe I was about 16.
Okay.
So it was the first live shows with the band at the time, Black Eye. This is going back.
Were you in Ghast as well?
Ghast was, very much so.
Because that was back in, what, 2008, 2009 at Ghast?
Black Eye was like 2003, 2004.
We even played a show with you back then.
Yeah.
Which is really weird thinking about that now.
That's a long time ago.
15 years ago. We're like, we knew each other 15. Well, we met each other 15 years ago. But
yeah, there was a lot of gigs back then with Black Eye, Aghast. I did stuff with Corpsing in London.
Right, okay.
So Aghast was very kind of death metal-y. It was it was like a smorgasbord of genres.
I do remember. Yeah.
But there was lots of blasting and double kick work, and then Corpsing is all blasting and double kick work and thrash.
So I remember playing the gig with you guys, and you guys I think might have been the headliners.
Right.
And you sound checked, and we actually had our set list written out of what we were going to play that night.
Yeah.
And then you played it, and we're like, "Fuck that!" Right? What's our heaviest songs? Right? Fuck that! No, where's that acoustic song we were doing? Fuck it, take it off because we can't play that now.
Was this Aghast? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those fun times indeed. And that kind of wound up 2016. You know.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
People had lives and stuff, and kids and jobs and stuff, and people just kind of. It's difficult to maintain a band at that stage.
Yeah.
That's what happens sometimes, isn't it?
True. What's the first song on drums or first drum pattern all the way through, like something you could play and nailed it? Because did you learn by learning covers? Did you?
I just learned the drum because I didn't really have many lessons.
Yeah.
I had a couple of lessons at school which didn't go very well.
They never do they?
Similar to me tapping on the desks, it was, "Can you shut up, please? Can you stop playing so loudly? Can you not do that?" And I was just being told off all the time, so I got naturally quite disheartened with the whole thing. So I didn't sit down and go, "I'm going to teach myself." I just did because I loved listening to music, and it just naturally came out on the kit. So Pantera was a big thing for me when I was younger, and I was obsessed with Vinnie Paul's drum sound and his setup. And obviously, I'm quite young, so I didn't quite understand that a lot of the sound he got. Obviously, the sound he got was from EQing and all the triggers and stuff like that, and sound replacement. But I didn't know that at the time, so I decided to down-tune all my toms so they sounded like warm, wet thuds.
I think we all did that. So you could actually see the skins just flexing completely. You didn't.
And then that was
nothing about resonance or sustain whatsoever.
Basically, that was pre-decent internet, so I wasn't going to go onto my dial-up connection and try and Google, how it was done. But yeah, I think it was all. I can't remember a particular song, but it would have been a Pantera song, Slayer, Metallica, all the usual stuff.
Yeah.
But I was listening to a lot of my dad's music, which was stuff like the Hollies, Beatles, Procol Harum, the Who. My mum's music, which was ELO, Queen, Genesis. So I had a kind of 60s influence and 70s influence from my mum and dad. And I think that plus my influence, which was metal, which kind of came from nowhere, and my parents weren't into it or anything like that. I just was happened to be hanging around the right people, and I gravitated towards that sound of music, that heavy music. And I think the style and approach to drumming has come from years of listening to random shit. But obviously, you find your calling, which is like rock and metal, and then you just finesse all the different things you've got up your sleeve, and just keep trying to learn new stuff.
I mean, what's your favourite kind of go-to drum pattern? What's the thing that kind of you could play it all night long, just puts a big smile on your face when you're playing it?
Oh God.
It's usually something, for me, it's always something that I don't have to think anything about, and I just love just playing the kit. It's not actually like, you're not counting in your head, you're not thinking about the next bit that's coming up. Is there any sort of style? Is it blast beats? Is it groove?
It's groove stuff. Groove with subtle little cymbal things going on.
Give us an idea, give us an example of it. Just kind of keeping it nice and simple around, just simple.
Vibe is the word.
Vibe.
Yeah, it's all about the vibe. So I think I went through a stage when I was younger, like a teenager, where you want to play everything all the time really fast. And then you're like, I need to do blast all the time and this and all that. And kind of, I suppose the older you get, the more you go, just calm down a bit. Just play what you're good at, but really, really well. Just compliment the song you're playing on.
Because that's something you actually got to a point that I wanted to ask about. So you're obviously doing two bands, Cage Fight and Raise the Devil.
Yeah.
So when you're working on material there, you've got different sort of vibe of a band, two different vibes going on.
Very different vibes, yeah.
So you've got to come up
with people, similar vibes. So similar approach to writing and jamming, but two different genres. Yeah.
So do you sit there and think about when those songs are coming out to make sure that you don't kind of go off down a Cage Fight route when you're writing a Raise the Devil song, going, no, this is starting to feel very much like a Cage Fight drum pattern, so I need to change that so it doesn't feel too similar?
Absolutely right. So far, the crossover hasn't really happened. It's just as soon as I sit behind the kit with Raise the Devil, I kind of switch it to a different gear, different approach. Cage Fight, I go to this other approach. I don't have to turn it on and off, and I don't have any beats that are similar, really. They're both totally different. But they're both similar approaches where it's all about just making lots of noise and making sure that you deliver everything you're hitting. You try not to tap things too much, unless you're purposely using dynamics. You want to be whacking the shit out of everything. But when you're playing in stuff like, when I was doing Aghast or Corpsing or the more death metal-y, black metal-y stuff, obviously you've got to hold back a bit. You're not trying to burn too much energy. If you're playing a live show, you need to be using your wrists and your ankles more rather than your legs and your arms. You're locking in more, you're doing more speed rather than full-on power. But with Cage Fight, at the moment, there's one song in our live set that has blasts in it, and there's only 3, and then there's no other blasts through the whole set. It's all just go da 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 da, or just da da da, or groove like I played earlier.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of mid-tempo, locking in, complementing the music, and delivering a decent live performance, and just hitting everything equally and loudly.
Because one thing I've noticed with a lot of the bands, or the newer bands especially, that are coming out, or the newish bands that have kind of been out in the last couple of years, everything seems to be trying to push the boundaries further with drums. Everything seems to be, it's almost like the song is almost a complete fill.
Yeah.
So there is just this excessiveness, and I don't understand, but personally as a drummer, I'm like, it puts me off of a song. I know there's some people, weirdly, it's the people that are not drummers really like that because they love the technicality of it.
Yeah.
For me as a drummer, I listen to it and go, you're not serving the song, you're not leaving room for it to breathe. It just feels overkill. What's kind of your take on sort of that style of drum playing with the over technicality?
I mean, when you mean over technicality, do you mean more proggy side of things, or
Especially prog, but I'm seeing a lot of this is now we're seeing people where the boundaries are being pushed, where they are maybe what would have elements of traditional metalcore, where they're now going metalcore prog, with djenting, and you're sort of going for you're trying to throw in about 8 or 9 different styles of metal because they're trying to push the boundaries, and you're like,
yeah, of course,
you're being way too much, you're going way too down that route.
I know what you're saying, but I think fair play to them for doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you can deliver that successfully, obviously on record is on record, right?
Yeah.
You can deliver that fine. But the live show is where you see if it cuts the mustard. And if it does, then happy days. You know, fair play. It's only when it's done badly that it's a problem, you know, because then you end up in a position where it's not very good.
Yeah.
But when it's done well, it's really beautiful to see, you know, and fair play for pushing the boundaries because we're getting to a point now where nearly everything's been done. Well, I say everything's pretty much been done. I mean, you've got bands like Meshuggah who did a thing which was like, hang on a minute, what the hell's going on here? This is different. The way they've done it, the way they dressed it up, the way they've marketed it, the way it just delivers, just crushingness, and makes you really think about the song, like what's going on there, you know. And I think that's great. And obviously that's caused a lot of other people to go off on tangents, similar kind of style, that kind of gent approach. Yeah. But anything that's done well, great.
There's always a market for it. It's just finding.
Yeah, or you just try not to be pushing the boundaries and you just deliver what's good. Yeah. Deliver a good tune, you know? Horses for courses and all that.
Have you ever been in a band where you have joined a band that had a previous drummer? Or have you always been a drummer from a newly formed band?
Yeah, I have. I have joined bands that have had other drummers, but doesn't always work out.
I mean, how does that work? Do you find it... do you have to honour the previous drummer's drum parts in the songs, or do you have to? How much play do you feel? I mean, how does it feel as a drummer? Do you feel that you have to do it, or do you feel you can just go in there and make it your own?
It's all about discussion with the band. I mean, if the band have said, "Look, we want you to literally copy everything that's on the record, every splash, every china, everything's got to be the same," that's one thing. And when they say, "Do what you want," it's fine. But then you do what you want. And they say, "Sorry, mate, can you not do that?" That's when it gets annoyed.
That's what, and also you then get the fans who listen to it and go, "Well, that's not how it's played on the record. Why are you playing it that way?"
Yeah, well, if that's the case, if anyone was to ask me, I'll say, "Well, I'm not that person. Yeah, it's a different drummer, mate. So, sorry." Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like if you look at I know I mentioned Pantera again, but you know that is people obviously touchy subject with a lot of people. But I'm looking at just the music, right?
Yeah.
You look at the reunion where you got Zakk Wylde and Charlie on
Charlie
drums.
Boy. Yeah.
I watched an interview with them recently, which was they hit the nail on the head. They're just like, well, we're not Winnie Paul and Dimebag. Like we will compliment what they do. We'll put their little like cool things and their little cool licks and stuff that's written in the songs, but it's not going to sound the same. No. I'm a different human being. You know,
your muscles are wired differently.
You're different. So
you hit with different velocities.
Yeah. If you want it exactly the same, you've got a covers band who are going to analyse everything perfectly. But at the end of the day, they're delivering their version of those songs. I think that's just the way it is, and it should be honest like that. I think. Yeah, that's just my take.
No, I agree. I've never actually been in a position where I've taken over from someone, but it's. I have tried doing like filling in drums or playing drums of another person's band, and I'm like, I can't hear it myself, so I know vaguely what's going on, and I'll just play my interpretation of it.
Yeah,
because that's how I play it.
Yeah,
I think even when we started Tellers, I was with Mike. He had some tracks ready. I sort of said to him before, and I said, he was like, "Oh, do you fancy doing this?" And my answer to him was, "Send me the tracks, but don't send me any drums on it."
Yeah.
I said, "I don't want to know what drums you've programmed or anything. I will do my drum track, and then you'll know what type of drummer I am."
Right. Well, you said they were programmed before.
Huh?
Were they programmed?
I don't even know if he had any. Before he even got to that stage, I was
I
like,
was going to say if they're programmed, you do your own thing. But
Yeah.
you know, take the programming as.
but what I didn't want to do is get his idea. If he had it like a
No, of course.
and mine was more like a ba ba ba, I
Right,
heard
so-
a different vibe.
So that is where I was going in my head. That is very contrasting. So if you've got a groove that's laid down by the guitarist that's written it, for example,
Yeah,
and you're playing a completely different thing over it, then that could cause a problem if that person was turning around and said, well, hang on a minute, I didn't want like a 3-minute long blast beat there, thanks. I just want an AC/DC style.
I can do that for you.
Yeah, but what I mean is if you're playing everything pretty much the same, so all the
Yeah.
important elements are there, the grooves are there, the fills are there, but you may be coming out the fill slightly different. You might be using a different cymbal for a bit. Those little kind of personal traits, personal takes on particular beats, I don't think it's the end of the world.
No.
You know, but if you are going to completely change the whole groove of the song, then obviously that
That could be a bit.
that might be causing a bit of a problem.
So obviously, I know you do the tutoring,
Yeah.
but what's your kind of rehearsal routine look like? So do you only rehearse when it's ready for a gig? Do you have a separate rehearsal just for you when you kind of run the sets yourself in a separate lockup? Or
Yeah, so
time
if I've got a cage fight show or Raise the Devil, but I'll use cage fight as an example. Because
you've got Raise the Devil this weekend, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. We're
6-6 bar.
6-6 bar on Saturday.
Okay, this video won't be out by this Saturday, but I'm just going to say they had a gig at the 6-6 bar.
The gig was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Packed house. Stole the show.
Yeah, I'm welling up thinking about how good it was. So if I've got a rehearsal and we haven't played for a while, we'll get together and bash out the set.
Yeah.
If we need to write some material, we'll get together and jam it. But a lot of the writing's done remotely, ideas, and then we'll get together and jam them out. You know, so I think you've got to work smarter rather than harder and use technology the best you can. But at the same time, you don't want to lose that kind of human feel of getting together in a room, having a chat, maybe having
Actually
a beer,
working. I was like, yeah.
and just bashing out some ideas. So rehearsing wise isn't very intense. You know, the cage fight set has been played. There's different versions of the set. The same set thereabouts has been played many times by me. But because we had a couple temporary lineup changes while James Monteith's out with Tesseract, so he's been out on a tour in America for a while now, and he should be back, I think, any day now. So we've had to get a couple of depths in to do the set. We did the recent Necrogobicon UK tour, which is amazing. Most of the venues are sold out. Like I'd say 90% of them were. There's one or two that are on the cusp. So really good events. That lineup wasn't the original lineup, so we've got to run things a couple of times. Apart from that, we just went out and did it. The first gig was like, you know, pressure test.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how many times you rehearse it. You've got one new person on stage, and one person normally plays one instrument, playing another one instead, which is what the case was. So Will from bass to guitar, and then Stefan on bass, who's Rachel's partner. He plays in Polar, so he came in off the tour. Doesn't matter how many times you rehearse it. That person's never been on stage with you before. So, and he's never been on stage with me. So the rhythm section, the first couple of gigs, you're still sussing each other out, having fun along the way, you know, looking at each other, making silly faces and, you know, having fun.
As you do, yeah.
But you still need to get used to that new dynamic. That makes any sense.
Yeah.
So that's when the rehearsals will come into play. For me, I come up with a lot of ideas, just tapping stuff out, a bit like on the school desk thing. Different ideas, different groove ideas, different fill ideas. I might record them on my phone and I'll put that on an actual drum kit when I get a chance.
So did you use an electric drum kit at all for recording?
Yeah,
Guides and
so
stuff?
demoing stuff. So this week actually I'm going around Wills and we're doing some cage fight ideas, which we'll put into the G drive and everyone can give it a listen, put some vocals over it, bits and bobs like that. So we use electric kit for that. Apart from that, I love sitting behind the acoustic kit and just going for it.
Bit louder.
Yeah, it is a bit louder.
And it does feel completely different.
Totally
It doesn't matter if it's a mesh kit or not. It doesn't feel the same.
cymbals.
Yeah.
So everything, but it's especially the cymbals.
Yeah.
You know, the electric kit I've got is just a basic Roland TD1, I think.
Okay.
The reason I like it is because it's got a double kick pad
Yeah.
built into the actual frame, so that kit's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of electric kits, you've got a pad that sits,
It's on the floor and it
and it
moves.
just, by the time I
yeah.
use it, it's being like, you know, a different postcode by the end of the session.
Yeah.
So the fact that's attached to the frame, it's a double kick pad. It's brilliant.
So one thing I do find with the electric kits, though, I don't know if you find it as well, though, is it does improve your accuracy of playing.
It does.
Because the pads are so much smaller.
It
The
does.
only thing you have got though is that you find the pads are a lot closer together than your actual setup of your kit. So you have to try and take that into consideration. I found after playing on an electric kit for 5 years and not playing on an acoustic at all in that time,
You go around like...
I got in there and I was like, no, that's where my symbol. No, why is my
Yeah.
ride over here? My ride's normally here.
No, I
And
totally get what you're saying. When I get my electric kit, the first few minutes is the sound of me hitting plastic with wood. It's like, oh, no, they're there, you know. It is what it is. But it's there for a reason. It's
Yeah.
there to jam out an idea. It's there to quickly demo something through MIDI onto the computer. That's what it's there for. When I teach, I use an acoustic kit because, you know, I think
That's what
you've
you're
got to
gonna
understand how acoustic kit works. You've got to understand what the cymbals do. Even if I'm using a basic setup, you understand how to tune it. All the things that come with an acoustic kit that don't come with an electric kit, I think it's good to start on that.
Yeah.
If you want to get an electric kit at home, then fair play. But you're still going to have to sit on an electric kit with me. Sorry, acoustic kit when I'm teaching.
So with the you mentioned Tesseract, I've got to ask the question. You don't have to answer it, but there was a little bit of a public issue recently with the around the tips from the merch that was mentioned by is it the drummer from Tesseract that mentioned
Yeah,
it?
Jay.
Yeah. So that was something, and I know I discussed this with some musicians, like the Birthday Massacre. I was chatting to them about it and asking them as a Canadian band as well, and what their understanding of that whole situation was, and they were like, "It's never been something that other artists have done." So, what was your thought when you kind of heard that sort of thing come out in the press?
Don't know. Yeah, I saw it. I've read into it. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm not an American citizen. I'm not gigging in the States.
Yeah.
I also haven't been on their tour.
I mean,
I see both sides of the argument, but I'm like, honestly, I wouldn't know what to say or how to comment on it because I'm a bit bamboozled by the whole
I
thing.
think I understood it when it came out because we discussed it in a bit of detail, and I do understand that obviously if you're not touring in the American element where it's just common practice, it's not as much of a common practice over here at all. That tipping culture,
No.
so you just wouldn't do it. But
No,
it's a common thing to tip. There's merch guys over there, which it's unusual. But I also said that if you were to go back 15 years ago, before streaming platforms, then you knew that you were making your money on your core merch, your CD sales. So your tours weren't your main. They were a big part of your income, but your money from your merch now for a band, as you know, you only really make money. You don't really make money on merch on the tour. You make a bit, but you lose about 30% of it when you're abroad to the venues.
Depends what your business model is, and there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things to consider. You could make an awful lot of money on merch, but it depends what your setup is. Yeah, it's hard for me to comment on it. I don't know.
No, just put you in a corner there.
No, not at all.
No one puts Nick in the corner.
Well, the funny thing is, I kind of am.
You are.
I am in an actual real life corner.
You are. You're over there.
But no, honestly, I struggle to answer it because it's a good question, but I wouldn't know what to say.
No, I think it's very much an American thing.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other country where tipping is such a prolific.
If it was Cage Fight on tour in the States, and I put the thing out on Instagram, and then we sat here now, we'd be talking about it for about 3 hours. But it wasn't me.
No.
So it's difficult for me to comment.
Okay. Let's move on. We'll park that one. Put a pin in it. Okay, quick question. Shoes or socks?
Yeah. Got them on right now.
So you're on shoes, I'm on sock.
Got my trusty practical Carrymores.
So why do you like to wear shoes?
What's that?
Why do you like to wear shoes when you play? Why not play in socks?
I've gone through phases of wearing all sorts, apart from clogs. But basically, thought I'd chuck that in there. Or
Crocs
or Crocs.
Croc playing.
Or sandals.
Croc metal, there's a new genre.
Croc metal. Yeah. Croc metal. Steve Irwin would be proud. Basically, I've gone through phases of bare feet, socks, no shoes, shoes, and with corpsing for a while, I went through a stage of wearing boots. Big, heavy boots. It kind of worked, I'll be honest. So with corpsing...
You were just stomping then,
I was using triggers.
Yeah.
And the thing about the boots is your heels become more grounded. You kind of... You're hovering less on the boards, and you're more grounded on the floor. I'm still hitting it hard, but when I was locking into the really fast kind of like 30-second note double kick grooves, it made sense. It was very odd, but I can't do it now. It was like a period in my life where the boots made sense. And if I put them on now, it would be an absolute shower shit. So now I've got old man trainers, the trusty Carrymores, which are like old man walking boots, shoes, and socks.
Fair enough. I do play occasionally in trainers, and I don't really realise that I...
What have you got on now?
Just wearing socks.
Oh, wow.
So I like to play just in socks because I get more of a feel off the pedal. I can just feel that I don't lose that little gap.
Yeah.
Where you've got your trainer on and you've got that little bit of movement in your toes.
Yeah, I get it.
So you just got a little bit. It's almost like a little bit of latency in your feedback.
I have
whereas
a theory.
this doesn't.
It's not a very exciting one.
Well, make it exciting then.
Okay, I'm not taking my clothes off again. It's whatever you're comfortable with, keep doing it, and you'll be fine. The issues arise with drumming because there's so many different adjustable things in front of you, right? So many different things. That could be higher, lower, this could be over there, there. You could go on for years fiddling with your equipment, including what you're wearing on your feet. Stick to what you know and keep doing it because your brain will work around that and it will find the shortcuts and it will find the best technical way of playing or find the best way of playing. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're using clogs, for example, and it's a silly example, and you're going, I can't seem to play the drums, and maybe you need to address the clog situation. But if you're wearing sensible shoes or no shoes at all, fine. Personal preference, but just keep doing it. As soon as you start putting your shoes on, shoes off, it's not working, boots, shoes, socks, no socks, you're going to have a problem because you're panicking then.
Because I actually, although I'm wearing socks today, I don't. For tellers, I actually wear, the beach shoes, the scuba ones.
Yeah.
That you can just wander around, so you can just move. They've got a little bit of tread on the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just those ones, but they're just black pair of those. Because it means that at least that way, when you're off the kit and you suddenly have to get up and do so, you can still walk off. Whereas now I'm like, put my shoes back on, wander over there, come back, take my shoes back off.
And I remember that problem when I didn't wear anything on my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to go and suddenly run off to the side of the stage, grab something. You're like, shit, I need to put journeys on. Because otherwise you're going to...
I just have drumming attire. I've got a drumming, it's not very complicated. It's T-shirt, shorts, and shoes and socks. Which on a summer's day is exactly what I'm walking into the venue in, and probably exactly what I'm leaving in. You know, but when it gets colder, you've got to pack your bag for your drumming attire. You've got to have what you want to be wearing behind the kit ready to go on, then come off again. But yeah, I just shoes and socks, stick to what I know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I try not to be shit.
So talking about your kit, so this kit you've got in front of you is your kit. Do you want to talk us through a little bit, or tell us what it is?
Yeah, so it's quite an old Yamaha stage custom with this kind of brown finish, which was put on by the chap who I bought it off, Dale Chapman. I don't know if you know Dale. I bought it off Dale in the kind of local music scene. I bought it off him in a car park in Cleveland, and I've had it ever since. And it is a brilliant kit. It sounds great. I love it. I mean, I haven't had a chance to properly tune this since it's been in the lockup, but it always sounds pretty bang on, it's great. It's got this custom kind of brown vinyl-y finish on top.
It's like a walnutty kind of cut. It's nice, coffee walnut.
And my brown cymbals. It's all a bit 1970s brown, isn't it?
What's the cymbals then?
So these are the Amete Signature Series cymbals I've got. It's a recent kind of artist deal I've got with them. So I've got an 18-inch crash over there, 16-inch crash, 16 and 18 Chinas, kind of your normal kind of 20-inch ride, normal size 14 hats. Nothing particularly special going on, but as I said earlier, when I was younger, I wanted all the cymbals and all the drums, and I've kind of no, that's fine. That's within.
I'm missing my splash.
Yeah, I wonder what that was for. It's just sitting there.
It's my little splash.
It's a sandwich holder or something.
Yeah. And I forgot my cowbell.
Oh, nice. You got your cowbell?
No, I forgot it today.
Why would you forget that?
I left it on the stairs. I'm sorry.
You
can never have enough cowbell.
I love a bit of cowbell. That's a Raise the Devil territory, that is.
Yeah. So I was going to say that's a G moment.
It's a G moment with a kazoo. You probably have a kazoo.
Yeah.
As well. So I've decreased the amount of cymbals and drums I've had over time.
Yeah.
I think it gets to a point where you think, well, do I actually need them all? Now, if I'm playing in a band that has a desperate requirement for a splash or a cowbell or some more effects cymbals and stuff like that, then fair enough. But at the moment, I'm not in a band that needs that. No. So I'll turn up with what I feel is the bare minimum. There might be some shows, like especially Raise the Devil shows, I won't have this with me. I'll just have the one China over there, but everything else will be coming with me. A lot of the cage fight stuff, this is part of the song. I recorded with it, or a version of this,
right?
Where I've got the kind of China each side, and I find it's important to the groove. Once again, if I was on a tiny little stage somewhere there wasn't any room for it, I'm not going to cry about it. That will stay in the bag and I'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
I used to have 3 rack toms on here. So there is another rack for this kit. I've also got a rack system to put it on.
Oh, okay.
I've stopped using that. I just use stands now. Got rid of that rack tom. Kept it simple. And a lot of this stems from when I was in a Ghast, I used 3 racks. Similar cymbal setup, but 3 rack toms. Is that I ended up
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it's basically I ended up with a wrist problem. I ended up with like.
You sure that's from drumming?
Very good. It was my right wrist, and as I said earlier, I'm left-handed. So
making it feel like someone else, eh?
Yeah, exactly right. This is wrong on many levels. You are wrong. So I was jarring my wrist. And I ended up with a tendon issue. Stop it. And,
you said it.
And I had to go to physio, and I couldn't play for quite a few months, and it wasn't a very fun time. And I came to the conclusion that I was over packing my setup and I was overreaching and things like that. I thought, let's just calm down a bit. Let's bring things in a bit. Let's get rid of that tom. Let's bring things in a little bit closer. And I haven't had an issue since. Touch wood.
What's the snare?
It's a crush.
Crush
snare with the Evans hydraulic skin, the ebony skin. And I've also got ebony skins for the whole kit, which I haven't put on yet, but this will be kitted out with full black skins the whole way through. But yeah, this is a great snare. It came with a full crush setup. That crush is now at a studio in Hitchin, but I kept the snare drum because I like it.
That is this snare on this one was actually a backup snare I bought.
Right.
When I realised I didn't have my snare for a gig, and I literally had to run into a drum shop and went, I need a snare. I've got this amount of money. What have you got? I'll have that. And it actually was better than the snare that I had. So
what is it?
Is it a Master Series? No, a vintage. It's a vintage World Max Classic.
Does it sound good?
See, I love the crack on it.
If it sounds good.
So I'm like, it does the job.
Yeah, honestly, with drums, there's certain makes I like Yamaha, Pearl, because I've used them. But honestly, I just think a lot of the kit sounds down to how do you tune it. And people just like, this cymbal's cracked, but I broke this on the weekend, so I do apologise to everyone for
if it shows. What's the sticks you use?
So these are London Drumstick Company sticks. I've got an artist relationship with them. So yeah, these are great. They're kind of 5Bs, but a little bit thicker, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them.
Ever played with nylon sticks?
Yes. Don't like those.
What, these ones?
Yeah, I've played unbreakable sticks made out of graphite, which I broke in a day.
I've played those, yeah.
Yeah, and the head sticks, the Joey Jordison, he kind of
pioneered,
and Lars Ulrich pioneered those. Didn't get on with those.
No.
Didn't get on with those. I just like a stick made out of wood with a wooden end.
Yeah.
That I can then break.
So I've moved over to literally like Timbali sticks.
Okay.
Because I just...
Are they...
But they're thinner.
Are
so these are only half width ones.
Ah.
So basically just...
Yeah, nice.
Because they're not as fat as the normal Timbali ones. They're only at half, so they've got the same feel. But
I might have to have a go on those.
Yeah, they're just naturally very thin, but they're very, 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 very tough.
Right, they've got a bit of momentum behind them.
Yeah.
A bit of power. That's what I like. I like a stick that,
And it was originally because I saw Vinnie Paul played with these at one point. And I was like... And do you know what's weird is when you're a young drummer, you get so impressionable by the drummers that you first see.
Yeah.
And I think I used to angle my toms that.
It goes from what we were saying earlier about the whole Vinnie Paul thing.
Yeah.
And it just gets you to a time at a certain age where you are obsessed with this person and it stays in you.
Like setting fire to drums and cymbals so that you can do the unbroken.
Yeah. Putting
lighter fluid and whatever it is.
Probably just booze or something.
Yeah.
I often think about doing that and I have to tell myself not to.
Because you know it's going to splash back.
Yeah, it is. But I do often look at China's thinking, wonder what alcohol I could put in those.
Yeah.
And set fire to it and maybe drink.
Okay, next up, we are going to do, or you are going to do a drum playthrough for us.
Yeah.
What's the track we're going to be doing?
So it's My Dreams by Cage Fight, which is one of my, if not my favourite off the record.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. That was the playthrough for My Dream. You look a bit knackered.
I'm not knackered. I'm just a bit sweaty.
Just sweaty in here.
Just sweaty. Yeah, I'm wearing a hoodie whilst playing metal, which is a bad combination. But I did it anyway.
You did it anyway.
It's like wearing clogs.
You proved that it can be done.
It's a clogs for the top.
Well, I'm going to make you play some more now, so we're going to have a bit of a playoff.
Yeah, go on then.
Which should be interesting. So we basically take 4 bars each,
Nice.
and we just throw it back and forth, and until one of us just goes, fuck it, I've had enough, really.
Brilliant.
Until one of us either something breaks on the drum kit, or one of us just goes, I can't do this anymore.
This is broken already, so I'm out.
So that should be interesting. But yeah, let's get to it. Yeah, I just can't do blasts or anything. I can't double kicks.
Well, I don't get to play very often these days, to be honest. It's really satisfying to me just to go for it. There's one cage fight track, which is what I was saying earlier about, it's like mid-tempo. It's not like but it's about locking in. And if you get it wrong, now I'm splitting between 2 kicks. I'm not doing like one footed up, one kick. I like to spread it between 2 because you get that. Yeah. So I'm not using triggers live. You need that power. You know? Yeah. It's no thrills. I'm not going like. It's all seamless.
Really, from a double kick point of view, I'm all right with like a few little kicks, but really, I just knock off on my left. So like after that, or when I start.
It's an exercise for it.
Yeah.
Where you do like kind of with the right foot. Left.
Yeah.
And then change the alternating foot. So it could left is always on the offbeat, your right's always on the onbeat, and that's your. And an exercise for you to do like 16ths straight,
Okay.
and then 16th triplets. So you can do like kind of.
I'm hoping once we get the new house that I'll be able to do that, because at the moment we're on the first floor in our mother-in-law's house at the moment. My neighbour's an old git.
Right.
So when I'm on the electric kit and I'm like, all he's hearing is through the wall, so I can't do it.
Thudding on the floor.
So all I can do is I can record the guide tracks, but that's the only thing I can do at home.
Yeah.
So all I've got is rehearsal time with talents, and we did so the track part required it was like a and so the original part that was originally written when I did the guide for it when we first came out the song was like. It's just like a galloping fast, like yeah. Then I started like,
Why is it straight or is it triplets? Is it?
Fuck no.
Is it?
It's meant to be. I think when originally it was meant to be done, it was meant to be. I just couldn't get the.
Like that.
Faster, yeah. I couldn't keep that momentum. My leg locks up.
Well, yeah, that's you need to work on your feet. So
Yeah.
basically, feet relatively grounded. Are you doing that? Or are you doing that?
Slightly raised. My heels are off.
Right. Make sure your heels
Yeah.
are nearly touching the ground.
Yeah.
Let the pedal do the work.
So I've been pointing more.
Yeah, don't point because you're stifling the pedal. Do that. You need to let the pedal go.
So I told you I'd get drum lesson out
There
of
you
you
go.
today.